Great to have you on the show once again. My name is Mobilas TV, and welcome to Lively by Mobilas TV. Now, if you want to catch up with any of my missed episodes, simply go online and search for Lively by Mobilas TV on any podcast distribution platforms. Perhaps you can also hook up with me on all my social media platforms on LinkedIn or Mobilas TV, on my Facebook page, Blue Buttons Communications Networks, perhaps on my Twitter handle, Automobile Elisa, or my Instagram page, mobile_s. Now, I'm not alone on the show today. I have Eesha Patel, who is an international channeler, speaker, author, and healer. Now, welcome with me on Lively by Mobilas TV. Eesha Patel, and great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited for this conversation.
All right, looking forward to your beautiful insight. Can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Eesha Patel, and I'm the founder of Origin Activation, which is a very powerful energetic healing modality that I channeled in 2016. My passion for the last 5 years has been working with thousands of entrepreneurs worldwide to help them learn that they can really connect into their multidimensional heart space and to build businesses in a way that's really heart-centered. And I guess a big part of what I love doing is shifting the paradigm around how we view healing and transformational work in such a way that we're really teaching people to see their wholeness and to step into their highest potential in an entrepreneurial sense.
Oh, great. So can you tell me more about your healing modality, Origin Activator method?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Origin activation actually started in 2016 because so the year before, actually, I had a massive awakening myself. And when I say massive awakening, I literally mean the kind of awakening that happened overnight. So, people speak about this, moment of awakening, and it's something that I think a lot of people dream of. It's funny because I did experience that. And what I often say to people is, you really don't want it to happen that way because it was very sudden and it was very quite drastic in the way that I experienced it. But yeah, I literally woke up one morning and suddenly I had the gift of being able to channel, and all my capacity to connect to the other side, or the high dimensional realms, opened up very quickly. So in the process of that, I was always very curious about the healing, the healing modalities, and I knew that there was a way that we could end suffering for people, and I knew that we as human beings always came to this planet with this sense of empowerment, this not needing anything outside of ourselves in order to experience that healing, or rather to experience that wholeness. So what happened was, one day I actually got a group of people together, and my intention was to just bring people together with different modalities and different experiences to just do an energy sharing. So it was an energy sharing circle, and we had people there that did Reiki, and we had people there that did access bars, and we had people that did all sorts of different things, different modalities. And so we all came into a room together, and then as we all gathered in this space and I opened the circle, suddenly I went into a full trance. And so I just went into this channel state, and I started receiving all this information about how we need to stop seeing people as broken. And this idea that when you have this person in front of you and you call yourself the healer, and you see the other person as the client or the person that needs healing, you're actually reinforcing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in their energy body, the idea that that person is not already healed. And so what spirit guided me and showed me to do was to view the person in their wholeness, and to see that in such a way that no matter if somebody came in with whatever beliefs, whatever stories, whatever physical pain, whatever the current state was, to be able to look at that, accept that, embrace that, but recognize that that is just the current state and that is not who they really are. So when I started to see the light, even through the pain and through all the stories and the beliefs and whatever else the person was bringing to me, when I saw that light stronger in them than they did in themselves, people literally started healing. So people would come into my studio with full body aches and pains and God knows what going on, and they would walk out like it wasn't even there. And so I saw the results. I've had so many examples. I've had people come to my event rooms, and suddenly, people who can't walk because they're in so much pain are suddenly standing up and they can walk again, and so I see that as the testament to the power of our capacity to heal through our beliefs, through our energy, through our mind, to just see the light that already is, because the moment we see it, where attention goes, energy flows. And so one of the key principles in origin activation is that you're already whole. And so my responsibility, or my role in this, is to see that wholeness in every single person that I meet. And when I see it, it becomes it. And even if they don't see it in that moment, they actually have the chance to experience that.
Oh, great. You're doing a great work. Beautiful. Now, do you
Thank you.
practice any other healing modalities?
So this is the funny thing. I actually started doing sessions on people, and then I kind of freaked out a bit because I was like, I don't have any insurance and, blah, blah,
Mm,
blah. So I then later went and I got my Reiki 1, 2 mastery. I then went and did a couple of different massage modalities. I thought I'd just play with that a
mm,
little bit. So I did go and study some things after that. But to be honest, I just ended up going back to doing what I was doing, because I would say, oh, I'm
mm,
going to do like a Reiki session. But then
mm,
the things that were happening in the session were nothing that I learned in Reiki, So
mm.
I guess for me, I just over the years became more and more comfortable with what I was doing. And after about a year of just practicing with clients and seeing these incredible results, I learned that I basically realized I had to teach other people, because I realized there's 7.8 billion people on the planet, and I can't sit there and do every single person one by one.
That's right.
So within a few months, I'd created a modality, because I systemized the processes I was using, and I systemized the philosophies into what is now the 6 key principles of origin activation. And in those 6 key principles, it teaches facilitators how to first and foremost view the art of healing in such a way that we're not perpetuating the cycles of brokenness that people seem to come in with. And then inside of those 6 key principles, there are a series of processes, which are things I've learned along the way and things I've channeled, and a bunch of things combined together, and a lot of tools and processes that my guides have given me as well. And so now I take people through journeys of learning how to do this as a facilitator. And so I've now got my 5th group of people going through the training, and it's incredible because now my facilitators are actually
Wow.
seeing the same scope of results. So for example, like by the time, some of my facilitators are 3 to 6 months into my program, they're doing sessions on their friends and family or even clients, and they're getting, results of instantaneous healing and things just
Wow.
shifting and manifesting money and all sorts. And so, I guess for me, it's been such a massive process of exploring and trusting that what I have received actually works, and then teaching that and seeing the results in that to go, oh, this is actually really incredible.
Correct. Now, let's go to the flip side of this now. So, if this technique, or what if this technique or treatment doesn't work? Is it because the ELA isn't good enough?
Say that again. If it doesn't work, it's
Yes, like to the flip side now, if your technique or treatment doesn't work, is it because the ELA isn't good enough, or what's the reason?
um I think, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a scenario where that's actually happened. I don't think I have not personally had a session where the healing didn't
Mm,
work.
mm,
Um, but there is an element of the alignment of the facilitator. Absolutely correct in that, because one of the key principles in origin activation is that the facilitator is basically just becoming the frequency of that wholeness. And so if the facilitator is doing that correctly, then there's a universal law of frequency that everything aligns to the highest vibration. Right. And so if the facilitator is doing
that's
their job
right.
correctly and is sitting in that source frequency, there's nothing stopping the person from having the healing. I guess the only thing that I would say to that is that the one thing that no one else can do, I do not have the power to do this, is to go against somebody else's free will or to go against
Mm,
somebody else's soul pathway. And so if somebody has a soul pathway where they're supposed to experience a certain thing, and there's some lesson in that, or there's something that's meant to be learned in that, and they've actually agreed to come in and experience that, then nothing I do can change that. Right, because I can never override the greater higher plan or the divine plan. The only time that I step in a healing capacity is if somebody goes under the veil and they come in as a soul who has a mission, but then they get caught up in life, and then they maybe get into toxic relationships, eat the wrong food, have negative beliefs, and they create this scenario for themselves, but that's actually not in their highest alignment. Then I help them to clear that through this healing modality so that they come back into their highest alignment. But if their highest alignment in their soul pathway is for them to experience that thing, then nothing I do can take that
that's
away from
right.
them, because the
Absolutely.
intention is always to allow the person to flow in their highest divine alignment. And if that includes some element of that physical illness or whatever it is they're experiencing, then no healer can change that, because at the end of the day, the only person that has the power to change our creation is us. And I guess that's
That's
where
right.
even in healing and what I actually teach, um, like, yes, I have a modality and technically it's a healing modality, but actually what we do is we mentor clients to take healing into their own hands, because I never want to set up a dynamic where I'm the healer and you're the patient. It's always, I will hold space for you. I will hold that frequency until you learn how to hold it for yourself. But I will teach you how to do it, because at the end of the day, the only person that can create your life is you. And so in that sense, we're very, very, very much big propagators of empowerment and the idea of self-healing rather than relying on someone or something else outside of you to facilitate that.
Oh, great. Absolutely. Thank you. Awesome for that. Now, it's been an impactful time with Eesha Patel, who is an international channeler, speaker, author, and a speaker. Now, Eesha, if healing is within us, why do we need a healer?
So this is a question I do get asked quite often, and we're diving into some pretty deep conceptual stuff here when it comes to understanding, multidimensional realities and the experience that we've chosen to have. We exist in a multidimensional reality, and in that there are, the framework I use is one that there's 13 distinct dimensions in this universe, and in those 13 dimensions we primarily at the moment exist in a third and fourth dimensional reality. And I say third and fourth because we are going through a process of planetary ascension where the planet is ascending from the third to the fifth dimension, and it's a frequency shift. And when I say frequency shift, it's actually to do with the beingness of the planet and all the people that are on it. Now, something very interesting happened on the December 21st, just last year on the solstice. It was just a couple of months ago, in that the primary vibration around the planet, or rather the consciousness of the people on the planet, is now actually sitting in a fourth dimensional frequency. So we have actually transcended the 3D from a frequency perspective. And this happened on the solstice quite recently. And the other aspect to that is that Gaia has been in a 5D frequency for some time now. So if you connect to the heart of Gaia through meditation, you can tap into what is a fifth dimensional state of being. So the obvious question then is, well, if Gaia is in 5D, why are we not experiencing this beautiful, blissful, ascended planet? And it's because, again, to do with free will, the collective consciousness of humanity, it's constantly co-creating. And so all of the thoughts of all the people and all the frequencies of all the people, of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, are currently contributing to the reality that we experience, which is a shared reality. And so you think about where the consciousness of humanity is at right now, and there's a lot to be done there. And so while I personally don't believe in the concept of healing at all, what I do believe is that there is a current frequency, which is the primary frequency, and the primary belief systems that are flowing through the consciousness are not in a state where they can accept these things as reality. Because the things that you and I are speaking about on this podcast, they're considered quite out there still. They're considered quite woo-woo. There's still less than 1% of the population who has fully accepted and embraced this concept of 5D living and this wholeness. And so until we have at least 1% of the human population that are consciously accepting this reality, it can't actually filter through into physical manifestation. So we're definitely in a period of transition where we're going through what we call some of the more fourth dimensional frequencies, which is very much still in duality and polarity, until we get to the point where enough of the human consciousness is unified enough that we can start experiencing this in the 3D, which is really then going to be the 5D in physicality.
Oh, Christ. Now that's very deep. Thank you so much for that. Now, can we talk about energy?
Yeah. What would you like to talk about on that?
Yeah. How can someone stop attracting the wrong energy into their life?
Oh, that's such a good question. I, again, am a huge believer in self-empowerment. And if somebody's listening to this and they're constantly attracting negative energies into their lives, there is definitely an element of inner work that's still waiting to be done, because there is everything in around us is actually coming to us in the form of a mirror. So everything that we experience in our reality comes to us in the form of a mirror. Now, it's not to say that, there's something inherently wrong with you if you're experiencing, negative relationships or something like that, but there's definitely some work to be done. Now, I just know from having worked with so many clients, like thousands of entrepreneurs over the last 5 years, that self-worth and not feeling good enough is huge.
That's right.
So when it comes to attracting positive energies, that is generally the best place to start. Now, there is more to it. There are more layers. Like, for example, if you had trauma, if there was any sexual abuse, if there were things that you experienced in childhood that haven't been cleared yet, those frequencies can still be consciously or unconsciously going out through your frequency field. And, they can definitely create things into your reality as well. But at a more conscious level, When we start really going on the journey of awakening and really ascending our own vibration, we first have to come into self-love, which means accepting where we're at. And sometimes it means accepting the parts of ourselves that we might not like, the parts of ourselves that we bury, the parts of ourselves that we don't want others to see. This is the things that we do and think, but we'll never admit it. And so when you get comfortable with those aspects of yourself and, go into the parts that you may not like so much, and you bring the light into those spaces, what happens is it's no longer sitting in the unconscious. And so then the universe doesn't need to bring you that mirror anymore, because the universe will only bring you mirrors on the things that are in your unconscious reality, because everything else you've consciously created, and you know that. And those are probably the things that you enjoy. It's the things that you don't enjoy that are the unconscious mirrors, right? And so if there are things in your reality right now that you're not enjoying, and you're like, why is this happening to me? You need to look at what that mirror is and what part of your unconscious energy is creating that. Does that help?
Yeah, that's help. That's deep and very spiritual, right? So, is there any correlation between mindset and belief system? So, do you have any insight to share?
Mindset and
Belief system, is there any
belief
correlation?
system. Yeah, absolutely. I think mindset and beliefs definitely go very, very hand in hand. And again, when it comes to belief systems, there are the beliefs that you know, and then there are the beliefs that you don't know that you know. And then there are the beliefs that you can choose, right? I believe that, and I'm choosing to believe that beliefs are a choice, because that belief serves me, because it allows me to change other beliefs. Now, I know that beliefs can be changed at any point in time as well, because a belief is something that you choose to adopt. And whether it be based on experience or whether it be based on belief, like faith, like you can have a belief based on something that you have no tangible experience for. Like, I believe that humans are inherently good people, and I have plenty of evidence in my life that has in the past shown me otherwise, right? Like, people have lied to me, people have, done all sorts of things. So I could choose to have the belief that actually people are just bad, and I could choose to adopt that, and that could be my reality. But I know that if I have that as a belief system, I'll just attract more of that. So I choose very consciously to believe and have faith that people are inherently good. And so if every time I meet somebody, my conscious and unconscious belief, because I've just drilled this into myself so much, is that that person is inherently good and they want to do the right thing and they want to be a loving person, then I treat people for more of a space of compassion. So instead of thinking, oh, that person is bad, I go, oh, maybe that person's just having a really bad day and they just need some extra help today. Maybe they need a little more love in their lives because they just don't know how to experience that themselves. And so my framework shifts based on the beliefs I have with the people around me. Now, where the mindset part of it comes in is largely to do as well with your self-talk, because your mindset around, for example, hardship could be that, oh, this is too hard, I don't want to do it. But you can choose to change your mind and say, well, this is difficult, but I trust that the universe is always looking out for me and will send me the things that I need. And suddenly, that frequency opens up a new door, and you might find a mentor, or you might find a book, or you might find a conversation with a stranger was exactly what you needed to help you move through something. Right. And you don't know how that's going to play out, but there's a level of trust you can have in that greater part of yourself, or the universe, or whatever it is that you want to call it, that it's actually looking out for you and that it does want you to be in your highest alignment. And if you just acknowledge the fact that sometimes we're the only ones that get in our own way, then you can shift your mindset and say, okay, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to pick some new beliefs. And with these new beliefs, what is the new reality that I get to experience? And when you embody that into your body and your sense of feeling and your emotions, it's only inevitable that then your reality starts to change and the experiences you attract to you actually start becoming more high vibrational.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Eesha Patel, for coming to Live Live by Marvelous TV. That was some brilliant, insights you have shared with me. Now, to my last, do you have any projects you're working on?
Say that again, sorry.
Do you have any projects you're working on?
Projects? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So my plan at the moment is to teach origin activation to as many entrepreneurs as I can, particularly to coaches and transformational leaders. So that's definitely at the forefront. But the second part of what I'm working on at the moment is teaching people how to create financial freedom, because I think, there's a lot of people out there who are very, interested in awakening spiritually, but there's, I don't know if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Essentially, it comes from a psychology model, right? So at the bottom, there's 5 rungs of the model, and at the bottom layer is your basic needs. And the idea is that if you don't have your basic needs met, like if you're still struggling with food and water and shelter and absolute bare necessities, then it's very difficult to get to even thinking about the top of the ladder, which is self-actualization. Now, there are a lot of beautiful people on this planet who would do the right thing, who have a beautiful intention, who have such a beautiful open heart, but they're struggling with finances and they're struggling with just making ends meet. And so when these people are in survival mode, it's very difficult for them to contribute to the high vibrational raising of the planet. So one of the things I'm transitioning into at the moment is teaching people how to just get the basics sorted so that then they can even think about self-actualization and get to that point of freedom where they can then start moving into high vibrational states of living.
Oh, great. I wish you best of luck in that project and all of your endeavors. Yeah. So any parting word for my audience?
No, just lots of love to you and your people, and everyone's on this beautiful journey, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
All right. So do you have any social media connections?
Yeah, so Eesha Patel, EeshaPatel. You can find me on Facebook. You can go to eeshapatel.com. If you look up Origin Activation, my modality, you'll also find me there.
All right, brilliant. Thank you once again. Now, it's a wrap up on today's show. Remember, you can catch up with all of my missed episodes on all major podcast distribution right on the net. It's wonderful having the show with Eesha Patel. Let's do this some other time. Till I come away, I need you to stay safe always. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Yeah.